Hi, my name is Tosin Amushan, and I am an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
Tosin Amushan attended St. Jude Private School in Festac Town and subsequently Government College in Lagos. He would later bag his degree in political science from the University of Lagos in the year 2000. He was born in July of 1978 to a father who was an insurance professional and his mother a professional nurse with a major in psychiatry. A young, versatile, and dogged executive, Tosin would later find his calling by mere happenstance, and today he is the CEO of one of West Africa's largest furniture manufacturing companies, Quartermaine. All right, welcome to Under 40 CEOs, Tosin.
Thank you very much.
All right, man, you attended the University of Lagos where you bagged your degree in political science.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about those series of events, in your childhood that led up to you reading political science.
Political science wasn't really the choice, but back then it was a case of just getting into school, getting something doing. I think political science was my second choice. The first choice was actually insurance, which was what my father did, and I was just basically going to go following suit after him, but I ended up with political science.
From reading political science, today you're the CEO, which is the carpenter extraordinaire at Quartermaine. Now tell me about that journey from political science to being a carpenter.
I've come to realize over time that the first degree is only the first degree. So what education does is basically just gives you the foundation for the rest of the things that lies ahead. For me, political science has been a fantastic add-on for me. It's a behavioral science, and in any business venture that you want to do, understanding human behavior is very critical. So to that extent, pole science has been very, very, very helpful. And today, I'm a carpenter, but the journey of that carpentry just happened by accident, really. My wife today, then my girlfriend and close friend, best friend really, had migrated to North America, and we were in constant communication. And during my NYSC, my service here was really comfortable years, which I was comfortable, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do right after. Then came my girlfriend then saying, "Oh, Tosin, what next with you?" I had registered a company then, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do really. And then I remember her inviting me, saying, "You know what? I'd like for you to meet my family. I'd like for you to meet my parents. And I'd like for you to come to North America. If you would allow my father to invite you." I said, nah, don't worry. I thought I could do it by myself. I have a company. All I have to do, I have some inflows in my bank account. All I have to do is look for a company in North America, in Canada. I'll write to them. I will ask, inquire about their business. I'll get them to send me a letter of invitation. I mean, this is me thinking in my head it would have been that easy. And then I went on the internet, and believe it or not, in my search for companies in Canada, the first company that came up was a furniture company. That was the turning point, really. The company, within the first month of interaction and communication, they were so willing to penetrate into the African market. They gave us the sole distributorship for their sitting products in Nigeria. The month after, they gave us for the whole of West Africa. We started, purchasing goods from them, importing from them. Then, of course, came the ban on furniture items during the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo.
So leaving school, I see you didn't get into carpentry, possibly, till 2013. So what happened between when you left and then
carpentry.
Okay. So I left University of Lagos in 2000. I served 2001 stroke '02. In the course of me serving, I had already been thinking, so what's the next big thing? I was torn between, okay, am I going to have to seek for employment in one of these corporates, or what really is going to happen? So when I completed my NYSC, I had to take that decision. Truth be told, I actually did try seeking employment in some companies, but it just didn't happen.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Industry is something that has been very, very key to me. I am very hands-on. I always like to get something doing, and at the point where the employment wasn't coming through, I had to take the decision on what next I like to do. And of course, prayerfully following through that, the revelation on my journey now started with carpentry. One of the key encounters that I had, which made me have a paradigm shift, was when I was getting into university. I'm from a family of 4. I have 2 elder siblings before me. Both of them moved to the UK right after the secondary education, and I think I must have been in primary 5 at that time. So at a very early age, I was saddled with the responsibility of being the oldest child at home, just leaving me with my younger sister, who is 5 years younger. A major turning point happened in my family just as I was completing my secondary education, and my mom spent more time in the UK, working. My dad had retired. For me, that period marked the time when I really bonded with my father, and so many values. At the time I got into the university, it was already like I had a mission that was clearly defined.
Now, taking a tour of your showroom, what leaves me in awe is how much excellence I see, in one showroom. Now, you tell me, how do you manage to produce such great quality furniture?
Okay, thank you very much, Babs. When you say excellence, it's quite flattering, because for us, it's a continuous process. As you may know, like I've shared with you, we actually manufacture, and one of the critical things to manufacturing is basically being able to control your designs. What you see here in the showroom, which leaves you in awe, is outputs which has come from design, concept, and then production, which entails equipment and all the dynamics therein, and then the final and finished product which you see. And as we grew bigger, you can't take away the place of grace in everything that has happened to us in our journey. And we grew bigger in the line of office furniture. We had clients, we had the likes of them KPMG, who were patronizing us at that time. And the moment we started seeing what the potentials were in terms of a furniture industry, our strategy had to change. And here is what happened. The immediate thing we had to do was to clearly define our purpose as a business. Clarity of purpose is very, very, very key when you're building your vision. Where do you want to be? Where are we? Where do we want to be? And how we're going to get there, and this basically just translated from what I had learned in the classroom when I was doing my professional qualifications as an administrator. So I was quick to aligning that, with the position audit of where we are as a business, where we're coming from, where we are, and then where we are going to, and then of course developing our strategic choice from there.
Versatile and dogged. Confident and adept decision maker are some of the words that have been used to describe you. What would you say are those key skill sets and qualities and traits that a CEO needs to, possess to run an efficient company?
The words that you've used, very important. I'd like to borrow a few words from an American senator. His name is William Clark. This must have been in the 1900s. He said that the key essential elements in success really are: one, you need to be dogged, you need to be consistent, you need to have a purpose, and your purpose needs to fuel what you want to do. So in other words, you also need to have increasing industry. That's the mindset of increasing industry. You need to have tenacity of purpose as well. So when you look at that in the concept of what you've just said, the words that you've been used to describe, you would see that all of them come to bear when you're trying to describe someone that is really driven in his business.
One of the things that really amazes me as well is that you've managed to build this in about 5 years. Now, where do you reckon? I mean, with where you are now, it's solid, looks great, amazing, production on point. Where do you see the business, being in another, say, 5 years?
When you say 5 years, it's actually a lot more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I lived in university in 2000. Really, it was 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've come a long way actually.
Okay.
So that's talking about 15 years actually. Yeah. So this is what we've done basically for 15 years.
Wow.
Where we are today, you could relate to the last 5 years because the last 5 years have been quite significant in our journey. Where we will be in the next 5 years basically is what has shaped our vision where we are right now. So our mission right now today for Grand Quartermaine is to be the leading furniture manufacturing company, and to provide lifestyle pieces that suit your space. And the next 5 years is going to be us basically consolidating within that, because within the furniture space, there's a lot to be done. Yeah.
So what's your company's corporate structure at the moment?
Our corporate structure now is we have what you call an advisory board of people that, stakeholders that basically we brainstorm together and then basically give a direction for the company. And then for the day-to-day running, we have a management. So the management of the company basically led by me as the CEO. And we have 4 key units within our company. We have the corporate services department, we have the production, we have the projects, and we also have the business development. So those key units are headed by, of course, their leaders. So the management of the company is basically myself, the CEO. We have the head of corporate services, who is also like the COO. And then we have the head of production, we have the head of design technical, we have the head of projects, and we also have the head of the BD team.
Okay, amazing. I see that your wife is part of your management team, Adeshola. Right. What role does she play within the company?
So, for the purpose of the business, she's not my wife. She's the COO.
Okay.
She's the chief operating officer of the business. Basically, she drives the corporate services department. Okay. Now, what the corporate services department does is they provide support for every business unit. So the corporate services, the day-to-day running, the administration, the HR, the finance, and yeah, basically what everybody needs to. So inbound logistics in the value chain, they deal with that, providing support for all the units.
Okay, so I'll just quickly ask. So as a family man, would you say that work-life balance is achievable, or is it a myth?
It is achievable based on what your priorities are, really. I think as a business person, what you need to do is, establish and reconcile what your priorities are. For me, family is very, very, very key. And my quest for success in business has not in any way, I believe, I may not be the judge of that, but I believe has not in any way affected the time and devotion I should actually give to my family. So yes, it's achievable.
You're one of the few, I must say, who is recording success in that area. But as a CEO, And as the CEO of Grand Quartermaine, what would success mean to you?
My mandate really is to impact people, impact society, and impact economy through industry. So success for me would be how well and how far I've impacted people, but the society, how far and how well, because in our society we do have a lot of misguided conceptions, particularly among the youth. So in that area, what we stand for is actually to also impact the youth, to make them know that look, they could do a lot more than you're doing. So that's as far as society is concerned. And then of course for the economy, industry. There is no nation that can grow without industry. Increasing industry is very important to economic growth. So when human capital comes to play, you don't have a lot of skilled people that have been trained. So you then decide and ask yourself, do you want to be a trailblazer, a pace setter? Do you want to be one, who is going to be training and training people? The people that have gone before you, what have they been doing? Other industry leaders obviously have trained. And I came across some saying that, somebody that said, look, do we train our people or do we leave them and we do it ourselves? And then I think it was the CFO that said, look, if we train these people and we are afraid that somebody will take them away, at the end of the day, we're going to have mediocre people and then our business will not grow. But if we train them, we would get the best value from them at that time. Even if somebody else comes to take them, at least we're helping the industry. So we said, you know what? We need to start training. So each time we buy equipment, before, I would go to Europe, I would learn because I operate the equipment myself as well. I would learn, and then even during the installation and setup, we would have people that the Italians will come here and they would train our people. We have agreements with them whereby in a year they come like 2 or 3 times and they're constantly updating our people. So we have also embraced the strategy and culture of training people, because the more people, it's beyond GQ now. You're trying to build an industry, you're trying to build a nation, trying to build an economy. So we can't think for ourselves alone. So we are at the point where we are not even afraid anymore of what would it be if we train people and then we lose them. Let us train them. If they go, they go. If somebody else gains them, the industry gets better for it.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
I'm proud to say that the furniture industry in Nigeria has come of age. It will take some time before it trickles down to the common man to see it, because there's still so many things happening that affect the overall output. But I can say that we are on the right path.
Speaking with you earlier, you gave me an insight into your typical day. And it doesn't involve white shirts and ties. Well, you tell me, what's your typical day like?
Actually, it does involve white shirts and ties, because we have a huge clientele, that significant portion of that are actually corporates. So you find those attending presentations, meetings and all that. And white shirts and ties are actually part of our culture. Okay. If you could borrow from the name of the business, we also have an identity, and it's very important. So what you would see from a typical carpenter you would expect to have jeans,
dungarees,
khakis, moccasins that are all worn out and all that. But yeah, there's a space for that. So on the production floor, you'd see a lot of that.
I just couldn't help but wonder, when the COO gets home, does she become 100% the wife, or occasionally she'll just slip in, this client, or this happened at work? Does that happen from time to time?
There's no 100%, I must say. It's actually difficult to separate the two, because there will be key things that need to be discussed. So yes, we get home and sometimes, quite often, we talk about work, but we do make a very conscious effort to keep it family when we get home. In fact, before she joined the business, I used to be like the one talking about work all the time. But since she's joined and she's taking charge of so many things, she gets home and she's bringing up, I'm like, please, can we just have family time? So yeah, it's not 100%, but we're dealing with that.
All right. So tell me, what are those key challenges in business that you've had to overcome to make the strides that you've made so far?
Challenges mainly, the key challenges for me personally in this journey has been getting the strategies right, sustaining them, and getting people on board to see the vision the way it should be. So that has been the key challenge we've had. Every business has its challenges. It's never a walk in the park. It's not as easy as it seems. You know, one thing about stories about business success and everything is it's almost impossible to summarize the journey of X number of years in X number of minutes. So it always sounds very sweet. You know, it's never easy. One of the most challenging periods we had for ourselves, and you'll be shocked that even up until like a few years ago, we still had like some dark periods where from time I would just wake up like 2 a.m. in the morning and ask myself like, are you sure? Are you sure this is it?
So I know you're a well-traveled man, but how has travel and interacting with different cultures, helped to shape your person and impacted the business?
Travel has been a very key element in what has brought this business to where it is today, because we've had to travel far and wide to source for materials, source for technology, and also, training. We do travel a lot for exhibitions and all that, and then that has basically shaped the business in relation to the kind of quality standards that we need. So when we were setting up our factory, for example, we needed a model, for how we should position the equipment, what sequence, how it should stage from what phase to what phase, And in Nigeria, you can count on one hand the number of industries in our field that actually have that level of automation and also structure. So exposure, international exposure to how things are being done in the industry has been quite helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, to the business.
Amazing. So it's on record that you've led a team of more than 100 employees. How would you describe your leadership style?
I've had to employ empathy a lot, motivate people, focus more on the people and their own personal lifestyle sometimes to get what we want from them. In this part of the world, unfortunately, there are so many distracting elements, for staff and all that. So when you're a leader in this kind of industry, particularly because we deal with a lot of people of not too high up there in terms of educational qualification, we work with a lot of artisans as well. So it's difficult sometimes making them understand. But my personality has helped me. I think I'm a bit down to earth, and quite tolerant as well. So I try to make their business my business as well. You typically find me going to the factory or the coming to the office and chat everybody up, talk to them. So how's your family? How's your wife? Sometimes I actually even know their wedding anniversaries as well. So when people see that you're actually involved in what makes them tick, you understand that and you respect that, it makes leadership easier for you.
All right. So as a leader, I have failed. And I want to believe that you may or may not have failed. But if you have, tell me about your failures as a leader.
I think in our startup years, we did make some wrong investments in terms of probably overstocking, buying some kind of equipment that we didn't need. Because then again, this is not a field that I went to study in school. It was something I picked up on the way and then I learned on the job. So of course we had a few knocks here and there. And one of the effects of that today, which has also come to be a strength, is that we have quite a number of some things that we don't really need, but It forms part of our balance sheet. Yeah.
All right, tell me, what values are important to you and your firm?
Honesty is very important. Integrity, quality is very, very key. And then we just need to stick to our word. Our word is our bond.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
So what would you say is the biggest letdown that you've experienced in business so far?
The system. So the biggest letdown really sometimes is in the people. And today we're dealing with that. We're managing that. So the process of mentoring is continuous, continuous. And it's not something that is peculiar to us as a company. It's just one of the many things that happen in a society. So we're learning to deal with it and then, getting better by the day.
Tosin has worked and is still working incredibly hard in a bid to ensure that he builds an enviable Pan-African business. He has had his fair share of bashing in business and has thus survived. However, what are those lifestyle choices that make him unique? I seek to find out.
Now, I have a few quick fire questions for you. What do you love to eat?
I love pasta.
How would you describe your fashion style?
Dapper.
What brands do you love to wear?
I do Salvatore Ferragamo, I do Hugo Boss, Passiotti, for shoes, accessories, yeah.
Okay, what CEOs do you currently look up to?
Aliko Dangote, naturally. On the international scene, he just recently passed. That's I call him my grandfather. He's in our industry, Ingvar Kamprad. That's the founder of IKEA.
So what's your favorite car to drive?
Mercedes.
Your favorite travel destination?
I'm looking at going to Maldives.
Your favorite book of all time?
Who Moved My Cheese?
And what book are you reading right now?
I'm reading Steve Jobs.
Okay. His autobiography.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me, Tosin, lastly, what makes you happy?
Again, my mandate is to impact people, society, and economy through industry. What makes me happy is when I see that people around me are happy, when they're fulfilled, when they're achieving their purpose, and they're happy. So that's the one part. The other thing that makes me happy is when I'm able to help someone out. Nothing gives me greater satisfaction, especially when it's done anonymously. Yeah, you're just there, and you see the person in, surprised and is in awe and is thankful, and deep down in your mind, you know that you've touched their life. Okay. That makes me happy. Also, on the part of the society, I do a lot of mentoring, and then when your mentoring is accepted and then it works for people, then that makes me happy. Also, industry. Because we're very creative people, our pieces are very creative, and then nothing gives me greater joy when I see our products in people's spaces and then just there serving their purpose gives me great joy.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on Under 40 CEOs.
Thank you so much, Babs. Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Tosin Amushan, and you too can be an Under 40 CEO.
This is Under 40 CEOs.